Okay, seems like the call was dropped. So I am back. We're back on. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen again so that we can get back to the problem. All right, perfect. Hopefully you're seeing my screen. We're going to the next problem. I'm gonna. All right. So number 4. A nurse is preparing to administer cefazoline 500 milligram by intermittent IV bolus every 8 hours. Available is cefazoline injection 500 milligram and dextrose 5% water, which is 100 ml to infuse over 30 minutes. The nurse should set the IV pump to deliver how many mLs per hour? So take a second, look through it, and then we'll do it together. What is it that you have? What are you trying to administer? And what's available? Available is your milligrams is going to be in the 100 ml, and you're going to be infusing that over 30 minutes, right? So 100 ml over 30 minutes. And in the minutes, you're going to convert that to hour. So 100 ml over 30 minutes times 60 minutes over 1 hour. So that's how you're going, the minutes are going to cancel out, which is going to leave you with the ml and the hour. So go ahead and do your math. Okay. So your answer should be 200. And you're going to have a whole number. So here it is. So 100 ml over 30 minutes. And then those minutes are going to convert to hours. So that way you can have what you're going to set your pump to per hour, which is 200 per hour. This one was a little bit more straightforward, but I wanted to at least break it down. I want you to every time, even though it seems straightforward, I still want you to kind of just break it down and do your equation so that way you're not missing any steps and you're not missing any numbers. All right. Number 5. A nurse is preparing to administer ciprofloxacin 400 milligram by intermittent IV bolus every 12 hours. Available is 400 milligram and a 200 ml dextrose 5% to infuse over 60 minutes. The nurse should set the IV pump to deliver how many mLs per hour? So you are administering 200, and altogether your 400 milligram, when it is diluted, it's going to be 200 mLs, right? And you're going to be infusing that over 60 minutes. So how would you set your pump to distribute this medication? So I'm going to give you about a minute or so to just kind of look at the problem so you can kind of have an idea how you're going to set this pump up. So for this, you're going to set your pump up at 200 mLs per hour. So remember, the 60 minutes is 1 hour. So for the hour, you're going to be infusing the 200 ml. So when you go in to set your pump, it's going to be 200 mLs per hour. Beautiful. You could go ahead, go further and do the extra step and just convert that to hour. But you already know 60 minutes is equal to 1 hour. But there's nothing wrong with just doing your whole equation. So that way, again, you're not missing any steps, on your problem. All right. Number 6. A nurse is preparing to administer Pantoprazole 80 milligram by intermittent IV bolus every 12 hours. Available is 80 milligram in a 0.9 sodium chloride solution, which is equal to 100 ml to infuse over 15 minutes. The nurse should set the IV pump to deliver how many mLs per hour? And you're going to be rounding to the nearest whole number. So take a second, look at your problem, and try to plug it in. Okay, so how you're going to set your problem up? So your first equation will be the ml, so 100 ml over 15 minutes times the 60 minutes over 1 hour, because you are converting the minutes to hour. So essentially your problem is going to be the 100 ml. So when you multiply and then you're going to divide, right? So you're going to have your 15 minutes times 1 hour, which is 15 minutes. And then the ml, so 100 ml times 60 minutes. And you want to divide that by 15. So your answer is 400 ml per hour. So you're setting your pump up at 400 mLs per hour, so that way that your patient can get 100 ml over 15 minutes. Perfect. So here's your equation: 100 ml over 15 minutes times 60 minutes over 1 hour. Your minutes are going to cancel out, which is going to leave you with the ml per hour. All right. Number 7, a nurse is preparing to administer LARP 1 liter IV to infuse over 2 hours. The drop factor of the manual IV tubing is 15 GTT per ml. So the nurse should set the manual IV infusion to deliver how many GTT per minute? So look at your equation. What numbers do you need to plug in, right? So take a second, look at it, and then we'll work through it together. Giving you an extra minute to just go over this one. Again, look at your problem. What are you starting off with? So you're 15 GTT over your 1 ml. So that's what you should be starting off with. So take a second, look at it, look at your equation, look at your problem, and set your equation up. So if your answer is 125 GTT per minute, you are correct. And how did we get that? So you're going to set up your equation. So your GTT, what are you starting with? So GTT 15 GTT over 1 ml times your so now you're going to do a conversion because you have one ml, and then in your equation you are administering 1 liter. So that means that you're going to convert the ml to liter. So then 1,000 mls equals 1 liter, right? So that's how we got this part right here. So then these mls are able to cross each other out. So then within your equation you have your liter. So you're going to administer the 1 liter over 2 hours. So liter over 2 hours, right? So then it's asking you per minute and not per hour. So then you're going to do a conversion with the minutes. So 1 hour is going to equal 60 minutes. So that's how you were able to get this whole equation. So here's your factor, your drop factor. Here is your first conversion because it's asking your whatever you are administering is in liters, not ml. So it's saying you're administering 1 liter. So that's how you're going to convert the ml to liter. And that's how this is what you're administering, the 1 liter over 2 hours. And then here's your conversion for minutes because it's asking you in minutes, not in hours. So that's how you were able to get 125. Next, all right, a nurse is preparing to administer famotidine 20 milligram by intermittent IV bolus now, right? So available is 20 milligram and 100 ml dextrose 5% to infuse over 15 minutes. The nurse should set the pump to deliver how many mLs per hour? How are you setting up your pump to deliver this medication per hour? I'll give you about 10 more seconds. If your answer was 400, you are correct. Perfect. And that's how we got it. Your 100 ml over 15 minutes, you're going to convert the minutes to hours. Next, a nurse is preparing to administer LR 2 liters IV to infuse over 16 hours. The drop factor of the manual tubing is 10 GTT per ml. The nurse should set the IV infusion to deliver how many GTT per minute? How are we going to set this equation up? Of course, you're starting with your GTT, your drop factor. So you're going to put 10 GTT over 1 ml. And then, so what it is that you are administering. So first you're going to put whatever you have. What you have is the 10 GTT over 1 ml. So now what is it that you are administering? You're administering 2 liters over 16 hours. So then, so that you're going to convert your ml to liters. So you're going to convert your ml to liter, and then you're able to plug in what it is that you try to infuse. So which is the 2 liters over 16 hours. And then you're going to convert your hours to minutes because it's asking you in minutes and not in hours. So if your answer is 21 GTT per minute, you are correct. And here we are. Here's our equation, how you're setting up. Here's your what you already have. Here's your first conversion because it's asking your liters. It's in liters, not in ml. So here's your first equation. Here's what it is that you are administering, and here is your second equation because you're converting the hour to minute, and that is how you got the 20. This is your, remember, you're rounding to a whole number, so 20.8 is going to give you 21. Next. A nurse is preparing to administer ordensetron, and what is that? That is Zofran, 4 milligram by intermittent IV bolus. Available is 4 milligram in a 0.9% sodium chloride. 25 ml to infuse over 15 minutes. The nurse should set the IV pump to deliver how many mLs per hour? So how are you going to set this one up? Remember your ml over your minutes, and you're going to convert your minutes to hour. So your ml over minutes, and then convert those minutes to hours. So 25 over 15 minutes times 60 minutes over 1 hour. So 25 is going to be 25 times 60 minutes divided by the 15 minutes. And it's going to be 100 ml per hour. Perfect. Next, a nurse is preparing to administer esomeprazole 40 milligram by intermittent IV bolus every 12 hours. Available is injection of 40 milligram in a dextro 5% water, 100 ml to infuse over 30 minutes. The nurse should set the IV pump to deliver how many mLs per hour. So keep in mind, you're going to have your ml over, so how you're looking at how much you're administering, right? So your ml, which is the 100 over the minutes, over 30 minutes, times 60 minutes over 1 hour, because you're converting the minutes to hours. So it's going to be the 100 ml, right? So here's your 100 ml times the 60 minutes, and you're going to divide it by how many minutes you're infusing this over, which is the 30 minutes. So you're going to set your pump up to deliver 200 mLs over per hour. Number 12. A nurse is preparing to administer cefuroxime 750 milligram by intermittent IV bolus every 8 hours. Available is 750 milligram and a 0.9% sodium chloride, which is going to give you 50 ml to infuse over 15 minutes. The nurse should set the IV pump to deliver how many mLs per hour. So again, keep in mind, you're not looking at the milligram, because it's eventually it dilutes into that 50 ml. So overall, the volume that you are administering is 50 ml. So that's what you're looking at. So again, it's going to be your ml over your minutes times the conversion where you're going to transfer your minutes into hour. So it's going to be the 50 ml times the 60 minutes. And you're going to divide it by how many minutes you're administering it over, which is the 15 minutes. So you're going to set your pump for 200 mLs per hour. Perfect. Number 13. A nurse is preparing to administer dextrose 5% in water, 250 via IV to infuse over 45 minutes. The nurse should set the IV pump to deliver how many mLs per hour? Same thing, guys. You're doing the same thing. Your ml over the minutes that you are administering it, and then you're going to convert those minutes to the hour. So it's going to be 250 mLs times 60 minutes, because 1 hour equals 60 minutes. And then you're going to divide that by the minutes that you are administering this medication over. So you're infusing it over 45 minutes. So divided by 45, which is 333.333. But remember, you have to round it to the whole number. So essentially, it's going to be 333. Perfect. And here's the equation right here, the same thing we've been doing. What it is that you're administering, over how long, you're going to convert those minutes into hour, and that's how you got that 60. And the answer is 333. A nurse is preparing to administer 0.9% sodium chloride which equate to 1.5 liters IV to infuse over 6 hours. The drop factor of the manual IV tubing is 20 GTT per ml. The nurse should set the manual IV infusion to infuse to deliver how many GTT per minute? The same thing we've been doing. So look at your GTT. So it's going to be GTT over 1 ml, right? And then you're going to do a conversion. So I'll give you a second to look that over and we'll go over how we get the answer. This one has an extra step that you have to do with your conversion. So I want to give you guys a few minutes, a minute or two, just kind of look it over and then we'll go from there. And if I'm going too fast, this will be a pre-recorded video. So as you're doing your problems, pause if needed so you can come up with your answer before you move forward. See if you're able to do it by yourself before moving forward. Okay, I'll give you about 10 more seconds. And again, if you need to pause it, please do. All right. So if your answer was 125 GTT per minute, you are correct. Ooh. Did I do something wrong? I did. Okay. I need to see. You know, I think I looked at the last. I think I looked at another problem. Because I did the equations, the problems before doing this. So I've done it by myself already. And I think I looked at the wrong problem before typing the answer. But your answer is 83. And it's the same thing that we've been doing. So this one's again straightforward. Here's that extra step I told you that we have to do because we have to convert the ml to liter. So 20 GTT over 1 ml times the 1,000 ml over 1 liter because we are converting our ml to liter. So these two cross out, and then you're able to plug in your 1.5 liter. So then it's going to be 1.5 liter that you're administering over 6 hours. So then it's asking you to give your over minutes, so not over hours. So you're going to convert the hour to minute, which is how you got the 1 hour over 60 minutes. Then you're going to multiply across, and then you're going to divide it, and that's how you got your 83. It is not 125. I was looking at a different problem, but your answer is 83 drops per minute. Okay. All right. Next problem. A nurse is preparing to administer 0.9 sodium chloride, which is going to be 500 ml IV to infuse over 6 hours. The drop factor of the manual IV tubing is 60 GTT per ml. The nurse should set the manual IV infusion to deliver how many GTT per minute? Take a second, look it over, and then we'll work it together. Look at your problem, set it up. Look at your GTT, what it is that you're trying to administer, over how long. So look at all of that within your problem. So what are we starting with? You're starting with your 60 GTT over 1 ml. All right. So now, what is it that you are trying to infuse? What are you trying to infuse? You're trying to infuse 500 ml over 6 hours. So 500 ml over 6 hours. Now, we're not looking for it to be in hours, looking for it to be in minutes. So 1 hour over 60 minutes, you're going to do your conversion. So when you cross multiply, you're going to have 60 times 500 ml is going to give you 30,000, right? And then 6 hours times the 60 minutes is going to be 360. So 30,000 divided by 360 is going to give you 83.33333. And then you're going to round it to a whole number. So your answer is going to be 83. Perfect. Number 16, a nurse is preparing to administer dextrose 5% in water, 1 liter IV to infuse over 12 hours. The drop factor of the manual IV is 15 GTT per ml. The nurse should set the IV pump to infuse how many drops per minute? So again, you're going to start off the same way. So what is your drop factor? 15 GTT over 1 ml. Now, we're not, whatever that we are administering is not in ml, it's in liters. So we're going to do our conversion. And we know 1,000 ml equals 1 liter. So now you're able to plug in what it is that you're administering over the hours. So now it's going to be 1 liter over 12 hours. Our equation is not asking us per hour, it's asking us per minute. So your hour is going to convert into minute. And we know that 1 hour equals 60 minutes. So that's your equation. So now you're going to cross multiply and then you're going to divide. So working at the bottom first. So 1 times 1 times 12 times 60 it equals 720. And working at our top is going to be 15 times 1,000 times 1 times 1 equals 15,000. And you're going to divide that by the 720 that we had. And it's going to be 20.83333. And now you're going to round to the nearest whole number, which is going to give us 21. Perfect. And here's that equation right here. Number 17, a nurse is preparing to administer dextrose 5% in water IV to infuse at 125 mL per hour. The drop factor of the manual IV tubing is 15 GTT per ml. The nurse should set the IV infusion to deliver how many GTT per minute? Guys, it's the same thing that we just did. The same way you're plugging in those numbers. All those extra, like the 5%, all of that is not necessary for your problem. It looks long, but once you get what you need to plug in, you're good to go. So what is your drop factor? It is 15 GTT over 1 ml, right? So now what is it that you're trying to administer? You're trying to administer 125 mLs over 1 hour. Now, you want to convert those hours into minutes because it is asking you, and the drop factors per minute, not per hour, right? So 1 hour over 60 minutes. You're going to cross multiply. 1 times 1 times 60 is 60. That's your bottom equation. The top is going to be 15 times 125 times 6 hours. I'm sorry, times 1, not 6 hours. So 15 times 125 times 1 equals 1,875 divided by the 60. 31.25. And now you're going to round that to the nearest whole number, which is going to be 31. All right. Number 18. A nurse is preparing to administer ceftazidime 1 gram by intermittent IV bolus every 12 hours. Available is 1 gram and a 0.9% sodium chloride, 50 ml to infuse over 15 minutes. The nurse should set the IV pump to deliver how many ml per hour? And you're going to round to the nearest whole number. Take a second, look at your problem, what it is that we need to grab to fill in our equation. I'll give you a minute. Okay, the same thing that we've been doing. So you're going to do your ml over minute, and you're going to convert that minute into hour, right? So what it is that we're administering 50 ml. 50 ml times the 60 minutes. And you're going to divide that by the how many minutes we're going to infuse in this over, which is the 15 minutes right here. So divided by 15 is 200. So you're going to set your equation at 200 ml per hour. So your IV pump is going to be set at 200 ml per hour. Perfect. Number 19, a nurse is preparing to administer dextrose 5% and 0.45 sodium chloride, 1500 ml IV to infuse over 8 hours. The nurse should set the IV pump to deliver how many mLs per hour? The same thing that we just did. So the 1500 times the 60 minutes divided by the hours. But here, now we have to convert the hours. Let me do the equation. 1500. Yep, 1500 times the 60 minutes, right? And then you're going to divide that by, hold on, did I confuse myself? Give me a second. Let me gather my thoughts. Let me gather my thoughts. The 1500 ml, right, over the 8 hours. Duh. So 1500 divided by 8, the 8 hours. So 187.5, and you're going to round that to your whole number. So your answer is 188 ml per hour. So 1500 ml divided by the 8 hours. I was looking at the minutes. I was like, wait, what happened to my minutes? But they changed the problem on me. It was not per minute. They didn't give it to us in minutes. They give it to us in hours, which is the 8 hours. So this one's really straightforward, really simple. So whatever ml that you have to deliver, divided by the hour. So 1500 divided by 8 hours, it gives you 187.5. Round that to the whole number. So you're going to set your pump at 188 mLs per hour. Perfect. Number 20, a nurse is preparing to administer 0.45 sodium chloride, which is 750 ml IV to infuse over 10 hours. The drop factor of the manual IV tubing is 60 GTT per ml. The nurse should set the manual IV infusion to deliver how many GTT per minute? The same thing we've been doing. Look at your problem, set up your equation, cross multiply, and then divide. So I'll give you a second to look it over. Okay, so you should have your what you're starting with, which is the 60 GTT over 1 ml times the whatever you're administering, which is the 750 ml over the 10 hours. You're going to convert the hour into minutes, which is 1 hour over 60 minutes. And then you're going to cross multiply. So I usually do the bottom first. So 1 times 10 times 60, which is your 600, right? So now we're going to do the top equation. 60 times 750 equals 45,000 divided by that 600 is going to give you 75. So your drop factor is going to be 75 GTT per minute. Perfect. 21. A nurse is preparing to administer clindamycin 900 milligram by intermittent IV bolus over 45 minutes. Available is clindamycin 900 milligram and 100 ml dextrose. The nurse should set the IV pump to deliver how many mLs per hour? Round to the nearest whole number. So how are you going to set up your pump? So you're administering 900 milligram over 45 minutes, right? And available is the clindamycin in 100 milligram per 100 ml. So how are you going to set up your pump? I'll give you a second, look it over, and then we'll do it together. Take a second, look it over, and then we'll do it together. So listen, we've been doing it. So, excuse me. So the 100 ml over your 45 minutes times your 60 over 1 hour. So cross multiply 100 times the 60 minutes divided by your 45 minutes that you're going to be administering it over. So it's going to be 133.33333. So you're going to round to the whole number, and your answer is going to be 133 mLs per hour. Perfect. 22. A nurse is prepared to administer vancomycin 1 gram by intermittent IV bolus every 12 hours. Available is vancomycin 1 gram in a 0.9 sodium chloride, 250 ml to infuse over 60 minutes. The nurse should set the IV pump to deliver how many mLs per hour? The same thing we've been doing. The 12-hour doesn't even matter. The 1 gram doesn't matter. You're looking at your volume and how long we are administering that volume for. So 250 ml over the 60 minutes, you're going to convert your minute to hour, 1 hour over 60 minutes over 1 hour. So then you're going to cross multiply. So you're going to do 250, right? Pretty straightforward. 250 times the 60 minutes, right? And you're going to divide it by the 60 minutes you're administering over. And that should give you the 250. Pretty straightforward. Perfect. So you're going to set your pump up for 250 mLs per hour. Perfect. 23. A nurse is preparing to administer 0.9 sodium chloride, 1 liter IV to infuse over 5 hours. The nurse should set the pump up to deliver how many mLs per hour? So this one, you're going to have to convert a little bit. So I'm going to let you do your thing. And I'll give you a second. So you're going to administer 1 liter, and off the rip, we know that 1 liter equals 1,000 ml, right? So we know it's 1,000 ml that we're going to be infusing over 5 hours. So 1,000 ml times 60 minutes, all right? And you're going to divide by 5 hours. So give you a second. We're almost done. And I hope this was helpful. I hope this was just us doing these practice problems together. I hope, it was somewhat helpful. So if your answer was 200, you are correct. Perfect. So how did you do it? You're just literally going to do the 1000 ml over the 1 liter, and your liters are going to cross multiply. They're going to cancel each other out, and you're just going to essentially do that 1000 divided by the 5 hours. Okay. 24. A nurse is preparing to administer ceftriaxone 2 gram by intermittent IV bolus every 24 hours. Available is 2 gram in a dextrose 5% in water, 100 ml to infuse over 30 minutes. The nurse should set the IV pump to deliver how many mLs per hour? The same thing. So the 100 ml, the volume that you are infusing, times the 60 minutes, because you're converting the minutes to hour, so times 60. And you're going to divide it by the minutes that you are administering the medication over, which is 30 minutes. So your answer is going to be 200 ml per hour. So you're going to set up your pump at 200 ml per hour. Very good. Last one. A nurse is preparing to administer dextrose 5% in water, 250 ml IV to infuse over 30 minutes. The drop factor of the manual IV tubing is 15 GTT per ml. The nurse should set the manual IV infusion to deliver how many GTT per minute? Take a second, guys. The last question, and let's take a second, try to do it yourself, and then we'll do it together. Take a second, look at it, and we'll do it together. I'll give you another 10 seconds. All right. So if your answer was 125 GTT per minute, you were correct. Very good. Okay. And that's how you set up your problem. So, and you didn't have to convert because your whatever you're administering, it's already in ml. So it wasn't in liters, so you didn't have to convert. So you didn't have to do that extra step. So eventually your answer will be 125 GTT per minute. That is it. I know we had got that one wrong because I put the wrong answer, which was my fault, but here we are. 96, but technically we got that one right. I had just typed in the wrong answer. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. But I really hope that helped. I hope that, was able to help you kind of, do a little practice question. And if you have any other questions, just feel free to email me if I have to come up with more questions, or we can do a few more together. I absolutely do not mind. But I hope this was helpful. Keep in mind that we do have the form initiative that's going to continue into the next term. So we'll be going over medications. We'll do dosage cap. So whatever that I can do to just kind of be an assistance to you guys to help you to learn these meds and just do good in your class, pass the NCLEX. I'm here for that. But just keep an eye out. Join us on our live tutoring sessions, going over the form. But yeah, I hope this was helpful. If you have any question, please feel free to email me. Okay, I'll see you soon.